Okay, let's go ahead and get started and then I'll just kind of let people in as they come. Just to go ahead and kind of get started, I'm Hallie. I work here at Reviewr and I'm going to be kind of walking everyone through this webinar just to get a little bit of kind of what we can expect for today, what the kind of goal is, and then give you a little bit of background. I'm going to go through and talk about some of the things that are often overlooked while we're hosting scholarship programs. And outside of even just scholarship programs, I know that a lot of people who are running these programs also run awards and grants and different kind of application management programs. And so while we will be specifically talking about scholarships today, just keep in mind that this can really pertain to just about any kind of application management program that you're running. Just for a little bit of background on Reviewr, this company was started just because there were people, our founders were a part of processes that they saw quite a big disconnect in. So whether that be the reviewing process or actually running scholarship applications or different kinds of application processes, they just saw a big disconnect in the process for both the applicants, the admin, and the judges. And so really kind of taking some initiative and trying to figure out those things, pinpoint them, and figure out how can we make that a better process. And so that's just a little bit of a background on Reviewr, kind of our why as to why we are working on making this a better experience for everyone involved. And then with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So today's topic is called Beyond the Essay, and we're going to start to kind of rethink how we are identifying the scholarship potential. Just for kind of a little overview of what we're going to be going over, six kind of main points for when you are starting your scholarship application process. First one is going to be that the essay isn't the whole story. This is kind of our main hit on today's webinar of understanding that there is more to applicants, more to applications as a whole than just the essay that you're seeing in 500 words. Next thing is going to be scoring with one shared rubric. There's quite a few different aspects to this that is important in your review process. Number one being that we're all judging based on the same rubric. Next thing is going to be AI. AI is a hot topic today, and it's just going to kind of continue to be more and more relevant, especially in that scholarship process, when it comes to having students apply, kind of how you handle that whole situation. So, kind of taking that into consideration, seeing what we can explore, what Reviewr can do to kind of help that. And then next thing is asking questions built to actually reveal what your main goal with these scholarship programs are. Understanding that you might have 8 to 10 different scholarships within one program, but then really understanding what each of those scholarships are going towards. Who do you want to be winning these? What qualities are we looking for? Not just who can write the best essay. Next thing is going to be making your priorities visible. This is kind of hitting back home on your essay and on your questions of what are you really trying to get out of this program? What are your top priorities? Are you really evaluating GPA or community involvement, leadership skills? Just kind of understanding what your priorities are and running with that throughout the program. And then the last thing is improving every single cycle. We see a lot of our clients are coming in and they have been running the same scholarship program for years, which is great that it's continuing to run. You're getting more applicants. But also understanding that in nothing that we do, we want to stay stagnant. We always want to be on top of it and be improving. And that comes with the scholarship process as well. Understanding that we want to make changes to make it a better experience for you all as admin, as well as for your volunteer judges and for your actual applicants. So seeing how we can improve your overall experience from year to year. All right. So the first point that we're kind of going to touch on is what are you actually trying to measure? This is kind of talking about just our essays. We see a lot of our clients come in and a lot of their evaluation process is based on how well can our applicants write an essay, which is understandable. We want those applicants to be able to have good writing skills, to be able to portray what they need to. But we see that there's kind of a large disconnect on whether a good essay really means a good applicant. There's a lot more qualities and important aspects of people that might be their strongest suits that aren't going to be their writing skills. So just because that essay is a very strong essay doesn't mean that that is going to be your strongest applicant. That also kind of is going to tie into our AI part of this webinar later, where understanding that we're to the age where a lot of your applicants might be using AI to fill out your scholarship applications. And so understanding that it's even more important then to look beyond that essay to really kind of see where your applicants are coming from, kind of get down more into how they're actually feeling, what this application means to them, as opposed to shooting a prompt into AI and having it fill it out for them. So just kind of going through right now what our essays are rewarding right now. It means that they're good, strong writers. They are able to use AI tools. They have the time that they draft it up, they maybe glance over it and send it in, and they are able to put their personal story into words, which is a great quality to have, but not the only one we want to be judging. So, looking into kind of what we should be more gearing up for and what we should be trying to move these questions towards are overall more than just essay questions. We don't want that scholarship application to be predominantly essay questions just because that's not going to be fair for everyone and that's not going to get you your true best results. And so, first thing is going to be kind of those situational questions, multiple choice questions, short form questions, ranking questions, long form questions. And you can kind of see and kind of departmentalize where you want to really focus in on what those questions are. So, just kind of understanding that Reviewr has those tools to use those different question types to get a better overall understanding, a better overall gauge of who this applicant is, and not just how well of a writer they are. Second thing that we are going to touch on is one rubric for every applicant. Another huge disconnect we see with our clients coming into Reviewr is that they are capturing all of these really good applications and then they are just shooting them out to random judges everywhere and saying, give these a score. No clear guidelines of how should I be ranking these, what do I need to focus most on, what area of this application. What's my range of scoring? Is it a 1 through 10 or a 1 through 5? Kind of just understanding the overall importance of reviewing and how that needs to be set up. So something that we push a lot on Reviewr is emotional responses as opposed to a simple 1 through 5, 1 through 10. And the reason for that is that that gives a lot more of a clear deciding factor between, say, a 4 and a 5. A lot of times we see our judges coming in and they're just giving out threes, fours, fives. And when you look back and you say, why did you give this application a 4 and this application a 5? And when it really comes down to it, they don't know. It just kind of depends. It's what they thought in the moment. And so when we use more of emotional responses to respond to that, you're going to narrow in more what your judges truly feel about each applicant, and they're all going to be more on the same page of what a 4 or 5 means to them. Um, Next kind of part of that is just understanding we're scoring all these different parts of an application, but which parts are most important? And that's where we're going to kind of talk about our priorities. Now, this page specifically is going to be talking about our scoring, and we'll touch into that. But another important thing is while you're building out your scholarship application, we want to be making sure that we are actually building it towards your end goal. That's kind of a big hitter on today's webinar is understanding how customizable your form can be in Reviewr. Just because you have ran it on Google Sheets or you've ran it on Google Forms, excuse me, on a PDF document and you have kind of these core questions that you like, it's also really good to expand and to kind of understand which questions are going to actually be more applicable to your scholarship. So if you're running one scholarship and you think that leadership is the number one most important thing, whoever has the best leadership skills should get this scholarship. Second most important is your circumstances and need. Those need to be more of your questions, kind of heavy hitters of understanding, okay, when we ask these questions, how are we getting our responses? How can we sift through our applications and see that these are our leaders? These are those who are maybe in more need of others. So when you're building out that form, kind of understanding what questions you really need to hit on. And then same for that evaluation process. We need to make sure that we are weighting our evaluations, which is something that a lot of other platforms don't do, is actually weighting out your evaluation scores as to what is most important. And then just kind of actually setting that clear line of what you're looking for. So, your leadership skills are going to make up a 30% of your overall score. Need is going to be 25%, and the rest just kind of taper down. And so taking advantage of having a system be able to do that for you, not having to manually sift through all of your judges' finished evaluations and say, well, this judge scored really high in this area, but not this area, and this is what we're really looking for. And so just kind of being able to take advantage of that tool that the system gives you while also making yourself a better program, really shifting into what you are looking for as opposed to just copying from year to year, getting the job done and sending that money out. Being more intentional with who we are giving these scholarships to. The next item that we'll talk about is letting AI surface detail and not just decide your outcomes. We're in the world of AI, it's only getting stronger and more relevant. And so the best thing that we can do for that is we can use that as a tool, not something to be afraid of, not something to shy away from, but to actually use that as a tool for our gain. It's 100% inevitable that at some point in your scholarship application process, you're going to have an applicant come in and they are going to put your essay prompt into AI and have it kind of help you figure out what their essay should be. Sure, they might add more information of this is my story, this is what happened, this is what's important to me. But again, that's not truly their response. You're not going to see that true applicant. And so Reviewr has a way to kind of help tell that. We have AI detection that will show up on your Reviewr screen as you look at applications and see how much AI has been used, if there's been any plagiarism. And something that we encourage a lot of our admin to do when using this is to not necessarily X out any ideas of AI. Don't make it be a punishment, possibly have up to a certain amount available because with anything, there is going to be some uncertainties. And so just kind of having a wiggle room, understanding where you're at, how much you'll allow, and kind of where you sit with that. Another thing with AI, of kind of actually embracing it as opposed to shying away from it, is we have AI summarization at Reviewr. And so what that does is it basically summarizes your entire application. So if I'm a judge and I'm logging in, I can use AI summary and it can show me just a quick summary of this application. With that, don't be scared of that. Don't think that your judges aren't going to fully look at it. But this is really good for those of you who are running very large scholarship programs where you might have upwards of 500 applications and you need to get kind of that first round of judging where we weed out any applicants who are for sure not eligible for this scholarship. And so that can kind of be your first mark. Another great tool about that AI summarization is that we also can give that a baseline score. So based on what your scorecard is, based on what is important to you in your questions, kind of throwing everything together and understanding what your goal is with the scholarship, is AI can actually give you a baseline score. This isn't going to replace your judges' scores. It really won't actually have any determining impact on who overall wins your scholarships. But this is a really great way to kind of give your judges something to compare to. A lot of judges want to be able to kind of see where they're at compared to others, maybe share scores with other judges, see where they're at. And obviously, you don't want them to be swayed, but sometimes it's nice to just kind of have a baseline to see if they are kind of in the same realm of things, or maybe they're seeing something that AI isn't, anything along those lines, or AI is seeing something that the actual judge isn't, kind of missing something. And so that's another really great tool. Going with that of I know that sometimes that AI can be a little bit of a scary topic of just kind of you don't want to give everything, all your power, all your control over there, which is completely understandable, and we agree. So just to kind of reiterate, what is going to stay with your committee? Your overall scores are all going to be within your evaluator's hands. It's all going to be up to them, kind of what they are going to be able to make those decisions on. Resolving your maybe your close ones. You have a few different scholarship applicants that are really neck and neck. Once again, that's going to be up to your evaluators, your committee, you guys to decide. But another great thing about that is you can use those AI summarizations and baseline scores to kind of help you compare. So still giving you that full freedom, that full control to make those decisions, but it's just another really great tool to kind of confirm where you're already at in your application process. Next thing we'll kind of touch on. Okay, every cycle makes the next one better. This is another area that is really a huge disconnect when coming from different platforms. Wherever you are running your scholarships program currently compared to where if you were to be running it at Reviewr, the carryover from year to year is significantly better. One of the things that makes it hard, and one of our biggest complaints from clients that we have with us today, is just that in their old process, nothing ever changes. And if they do change, they have to completely overhaul everything. And just to kind of touch on those two things, when nothing ever changes, you're not growing. The overall goal of these scholarship programs that you're running is not only to give out the award to the most deserving applicant, but also to grow your numbers. The only way that you're going to grow your funds to give out, you're going to grow your um, available scholarships, however that might be, is when you have more applicants and you make your scholarship program more known and you are able to actually host more scholarships or other events, awards, grants, anything like that. And so the best way to up those numbers, up those participation rates is to have a good process for everyone. I always say that the experience for the applicant starts at the admin. When the admin has a good experience and is able to tailor your scholarship program exactly how you want it, everything is kind of in line with your goals, you kind of have that full control of making it however you would like. That then translates to a really good applicant experience. You as admin know what your applicants are looking for. You know that they're tired of having to save a PDF or go pick up a paper in the office. They're tired of submitting a Google form and not being able to review their results. Kind of just that unknown is really hard, especially when we are in the day and age where everything is mobile. And so making sure that we're really tailoring to them where they have access to everything even after they submit. It's all mobile. They can log in and out. That better experience. And so you know that that's what your applicants are looking for. And so moving to a platform that is very easy for applicants from cycle to cycle is really important. So just kind of honing back in on making your cycles better each year. With Reviewr, we will get your old scholarship program into Reviewr, we'll edit it, we'll make it better. You'll kind of alter it to best fit the system and best fit your current needs. You'll go through that application process, your evaluation process, and from there, you're going to see what you liked, what you didn't like, what worked, and what didn't work. And from there, you can make changes. Now, the nice thing about this is that you can copy your past year's event exactly, create the New Year's event, make edits, and you can see those changes from year to year. Even though we're completely making a new event, we're going to copy it from the last one and build as opposed to starting from scratch, which is super helpful. And then also gives you that ability to look back at past applications, see kind of where that disconnect is every part of the way. Learning and adjusting and growing is going to be the overall best way to kind of help you grow your scholarship experience for everyone involved. And then once you kind of do get your scholarship down to a T, you understand what works for you, what you like. From year to year, you're going to have very minimal, if any, changes, which is super nice. And then creates a better experience for your applicants because they know what to expect. When they log into a Reviewr, they're going to know that they're going to log in, they're going to select the application that they want to apply to, and they're going to go and they're going to have access to everything, which is really reassuring to applicants. It all starts when they have a good experience that helps your program grow. Okay, just to kind of cover our key takeaways, and then I'm actually going to hop into Reviewr and kind of show you what we can do with that, what that application process looks like, what that judging process looks like. If you guys have had any questions so far in this webinar, I know I've ran through things pretty quickly. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and then as I kind of go through this, I can answer, and then we'll have a full time for questions at the end. But what to change before your next cycle? I know that scholarship season is approaching, everyone's starting to get busy, but it's not too late. There's plenty of time to get things working to how you best want. Number one is an essay is changing from just an essay prompt. So an essay measures your writing, pair it with formats that measure everything else. So maybe turn that essay questions into different question types, really try and understand who those applicants are, what their strong suits are, apply that to what you care most about, excuse me. Second thing is one shared rubric beats individual judgment applied inconsistently. Giving your judges one rubric across the board is going to overall make your scoring much more fair because everyone is going to be judging on the same thing. Every aspect of that judging is going to be weighted the same. And then you know that everyone is really truly getting their best fair shot because your judges are on a lot more of that same page. Circling back to the emotional responses, that gives it an even extra level of coverage of making sure that those judges are giving their best efforts to make sure that everyone is on that same page. Number three is going to be weighting that makes your priorities explicit instead of implicit. Just kind of covered this, but actually taking your priorities and your goals and doing something about it. We know what parts of that application need to shine and need to really carry the weight of who's getting this scholarship versus who isn't. And so actually doing something with that. Take that, put that weight on it, and see who your true best applicants are. Next thing is just kind of covering our qualitative scale. Just kind of covered this. Get away from your 1 through 10 ratings, your 1 through 5 ratings, and give the judges a more clear answer as to kind of where they're at in that process. Let them really give the best shot for the most fair score. Number five is AI should speed up reading and not replace deciding. Kind of embrace that AI. You know that your applicants are probably going to be using it to some degree. Be able to see what they're using it for, and then use that tool to your advantage. Use that summary, use that baseline. Help your judges out, help give them more tools to make it an even better experience for them. Next is a baseline AI score is a checkpoint, not a verdict. So just reiterating that anything that AI does, your baseline, your summary, that's just an extra helpful tool. It's not anything that's actually going to make a deciding factor or difference. It's just there to help. It's not actually making any decisions. Next thing is that every cycle's data is an input into the next cycle's design. Use your reports, use everything that Reviewr offers to help you grow. Again, the number one success story for your scholarship applicants is going to be growing your program, allowing more scholarships so you can touch more of those applicants, you can give more. And that starts with growing. So improve your cycle so that you can grow, you can improve those numbers, you can just improve from year to year. And then the last thing before we actually dive into Reviewr is going to be copying and refining a proven event beats rebuilding from zero. So take your event from year to year, kind of chip away at it, make it better, but while keeping those applicants comfortable because you're in that same place from year to year. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna head on over into Reviewr, and then I'm just gonna show you some of the things we talked about, and then we'll go ahead and have some time for some questions. Number one thing that we kind of have talked about is your applicant's experience. And so one thing that I do just kind of want to touch on a little bit further is that Reviewr is an application-based management program. And so what kind of comes with that is that we want every single user in Reviewr to have an account, including your applicants. So when they first come into Reviewr for their first program, they're going to create an account with your name, your email address, and a password. And what that does is that allows them for their progress to automatically save. That allows them to be able to log back in and see the status of their submission. That allows them to use the same account from year to year and be able to see submissions from year to year. It doesn't just go away. They don't lose that visibility. Really great process. Big one is that save progress as you go. That seems to help a lot of our scholarship applicants. Just for another little look, this is kind of what that first page, if you choose, will look like. A lot of our admin run it to where that first page is going to be your applicant information. The nice thing about creating an account is things like your first name and your last name. That's going to carry into your application autofill. one less step for those applicants. Keep it from being super redundant. Moving on to that next page, here's just kind of some examples of the different question types. And this helps for really clean reports. I'll touch about that in a minute, but reporting is another really great tool for improving from year to year, for looking at those metrics. And so when you have different question types that are going to fit into those reports perfectly, that makes for a really great process for you as admin. Another really great tool that a lot of our scholarship events specifically use is going to be the matching tool. And so what this is this basically is eligibility slash matching, so that when you are running multiple scholarships, or even just for your one, we make sure that your applicants are getting lined up with what best fits them. And so that's going to be if they're eligible or ineligible, if they're able to move through the form or not, or just matching them to the scholarships that best apply to them. Say you're offering 10 scholarships, but they're only able to apply for 3 using the matching tool, you can match them to your top 3 scholarships. I'm going to skip through this. And then here's just kind of another example of all the different question types that are available. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. Should have checked that chat sooner. Okay. Thank you for commenting that. Let me go back a little bit. I'll keep the commentary brief just because I've already been over it. This is that account creation page. So we'll have what you call a microsite. So each of your events is going to have a microsite. They can either log in or create an account. That's that page. Here's just that applicant information page, just kind of a quick view of all those questions that you have available to you, different question types, that save and log out button, the names that will be auto-filled based on their account creation. Here is kind of that matching tool. It's just going to be a series of questions that pertain to the scholarships that you're offering, help them match up or help them see if they're eligible. That can be 2 pages, that can be 1, again, whatever works best for you, and that can help map, help kind of save you guys that time of seeing who is eligible, who matches, that kind of thing. Okay, and then this is where I left off until my screen was updated. Sorry about that again. And this is going to be just kind of another page example, but just kind of going through the different question types. We have that address component, uploads. This is a really important one that a lot of time is overlooked. A lot of our clients are using a program to where they can't upload any kind of document. We have just about any kind of file upload that you can think of. And so it's also safe. We're SOC 2 compliant, making sure that all of our applicants' data is secure and in that safe place so that it's not open to everyone, and a really easy process for them as well. Here are some of those question ideas. These are just kind of brief, but for example, for this scholarship example, GPA, leadership is kind of going to be the most important things, how involved they are with those school activities, your extracurriculars, within your community, that kind of thing. So this is just kind of a brief, short example of what that could look like. And moving to that next page is where are these funds going to? This is another really important of scholarships that is often overlooked, is the post-scholarship process. So where did these scholarship funds go to? How was the applicant, the recipient, impacted by this? And so this kind of helps gauge where those funds are initially going to go to, what school they're going to, just kind of some more information. And then this also helps you get a better understanding of who your applicants are. So if you are doing social media sharing or just kind of broadcasting what scholarships you're giving out, past recipients, anything like that, you have all of that information right here at your fingertips. Just kind of some more questions to take a peek at, more of those file uploads, conditional logic questions, a lot of freedom when it comes to building out your ideal scholarship form. And then this next page is kind of touching in on those essays that we talked about. Something that we're seeing a lot of is video essay uploads, which I think is a great way to kind of incorporate um, more personality. A lot of times it's hard to see who your applicants are through typing through a screen or filling out applications. And so, especially for the review committee, I think that a video essay is oftentimes a really great way to kind of get to know your applicants. So that's an option. And then your typical essay. You will notice though that in this specific scholarship application, there's one essay with a maximum in specific prompts. And so just kind of keeping in touch that that's kind of where you're at with your essay. Nothing too much, not having it be too heavily weighted, really giving other areas of the application an opportunity to shine and show who that applicant truly is. Another thing is letter recommendations. Most scholarships that we run do use letter recommendations. The really great thing about doing these through Reviewr is that what this will do is you can insert those letter recommendation people into the system, and it will send those recommenders an invite. They can come in and fill out that letter of recommendation. That's a really great process just because then you as admin don't have to hunt it down. It's all going to be in one place for you. You can trust that it's actually coming from the recommender that they claim it is. Really just kind of makes it a better experience, specifically for you as admin of keeping your life easier. Just to peek at that reference experience. This is where it was entered on the main application. Those references will receive an invite email. They'll click a link and then they'll fill out a reference request. This is another thing that we are kind of, I want to go back to that, pushing towards is instead of just doing the recommendation letter, again, some writers are better than others. That doesn't make them any less of a reference or less eligible. And so something we've kind of been pushing is actually having the recommenders rank different qualities, again, weighted on based on what's most important to you for the specific scholarship. So instead of just uploading an essay, they can also rank the applicant's qualities on all these different skills, traits, etc. And then I did kind of just want to show you that judge experience, just so you can kind of see what those scores look like. If you guys do need to keep the applicant identifying data hidden from the judges, that's an option as well. We can keep that all hidden and anonymous. When they actually view the application will be on the left side, and then the score will be on the right side. This is a really great experience. Another big complaint we get from past judges is just that there's 8 different tabs to open, 3 different files, and keeping everything organized is difficult. It's not easy. And so where everything is all in one place here, it makes for a really great experience for the judges. Another thing to do with questions that are weighted, instead of leaving it up to the judges to score, you can do it based on what did they actually answer. And that can be a GPA, for example. If their GPA was in the range of 3.5 to 4.0, have the judge select that, and then on the back end, that will just be the score that's automatically given to them. So taking another step off the judges, another step off of you, because you don't need to double check that anymore. Here you can see some of the embedded documents. You can see how that's a really nice and clean view for those judges. And then just overall, all of this is going to be stuck together for you as an admin. Everything in one place, you can see the total points. Every part of it is going to be all together and just really easy for you to see, which is really important. Okay, and with that, we are just a little bit above 30 minutes. So I'm going to stop the screen share. And then if you guys have any questions, anything you want me to go back on the slides within that demo, I can go ahead and answer any of those. Once again, I apologize for not having my screen on the right one for you to see. So if you want to go back and take more time to look at that, I can for sure go back there. Do we have any questions? I can allow you guys to unmute yourselves if you would rather speak instead of just type. Give just a couple more minutes if anyone is typing up a question. All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and wrap it up and let you guys go to your next items for the day. But thank you for coming and joining the webinar. If you guys have any questions, reach out. I can go ahead and drop a link to schedule a demo if you have pricing questions, anything else kind of from there. But otherwise, I can go ahead and end our meeting here.